What is the difference between a Hong Kong Christmas and a UK Christmas? Now, I've spent 22 years of my life living in Hong Kong, so I've spent many, many Christmases in Hong Kong. But also at my age, I've spent a lot of Christmases in the UK, and I'm currently here in the UK at the moment. And I've had a chance to reflect on exactly what the differences are between the two places. There is a completely different vibe in Hong Kong at Christmas time compared to the UK at Christmas time. And in this video, I'd like to look at some of those differences from food to family traditions to eating habits to shopping to Christmas Eve and Christmas Day traditions themselves. So without any further ado, let's get started. Let's talk about the build up to Christmas itself. In the UK, the build up starts quite early. I remember in October, actually before Halloween, the Christmas decorations were already going up. Certainly by end of November, early December, the Christmas trees are starting to go up in everybody's houses as well, in living rooms up and down the country. Not in every single house, but a lot of people will start putting Christmas lights on the outside of their houses. And I've noticed since coming back from Hong Kong, there are many shops which are actually selling lights which you can put in your garden, maybe a Santa Claus, a reindeer, a snowman, all lit up. And the effect is when, especially when you walk down a street in the UK and all of the houses are decorated on the street, it really does add to the vibe of Christmas in the whole area. In Hong Kong, yes, Christmas is celebrated and the shopping malls do a fantastic job usually. They're very well decorated and there's certainly music playing in the air. But on the whole, the Christmas feeling is maybe a little bit more muted. Decorations are big in the shopping malls, but not so much in the homes. I think one point that illustrates this is that in the UK, literally everybody, in fact, I don't know many families that don't have a Christmas tree. So there are literally millions of Christmas trees which are sold at this time of year. And because of that, the prices are driven right down. If you go to some of the major supermarket chains in the UK at this time of year, you can easily pick up a huge Christmas tree for around about £20, very cheap, about 200 Hong Kong dollars. But I remember in Hong Kong at Christmas time, if you want to get a real Christmas tree, firstly, it's very difficult to do that. And secondly, if you can find a place, I remember there was one or two stores, garden centers actually in Hong Kong, in Mong Kok, which sold Christmas trees. And at the time, they were priced at well over $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. So that's going up to around about £400 just for a Christmas tree, a real Christmas tree, which by all accounts was not particularly large. But if you think about it, it makes sense that they're so expensive because there isn't really the demand. Therefore, the prices are much higher altogether. One of my favorite parts of the UK at this time of year is the Christmas market. And it's early December at the moment. It's actually the 3rd of December today. And I've already been to 2 Christmas markets. I went to one in Leicester Square in London, and I've also been to one in my local town, literally a couple of minutes away from my house. And the vibe in both of those markets was absolutely incredible. There's simply so much to do and so many people that go there. Mulled wine, mince pies, all sorts of gifts, there's various activities and things that you can do. And there's something quite magical about wandering around in the freezing cold with a hot drink or some hot food, and you can just feel and see all the smiles on the faces. In Hong Kong, the equivalent would probably be the shopping malls. And yes, they are incredibly impressive, and the trees are usually huge, the displays are incredibly eye-catching. But what I would say the main difference is between the two is that in Hong Kong, there is an emphasis maybe on commercial, but in the UK, there's much more of an emphasis on the communal. Beautiful in Hong Kong, yes, but nothing quite like wandering around on a cold, foggy December evening through a bustling crowd with a hot drink and maybe a mince pie in hand, smelling all those wonderful smells of hot roasted chestnuts in the air, and seeing the children screaming and shouting. I mean, the other night when I was down at my local market, Santa Claus suddenly appeared and was wandering around, ringing his bell, and all the children literally went wild. There was the sound of brass bands playing, Morris dancers were jingling and dancing around. All sorts of schools were singing Christmas carols out in the middle of the night on a December evening. And it's such a wonderful evening, magical evening display that really lifts people and brings everybody together. Let's talk about Christmas Eve. Now, in the UK, Christmas Eve is a time for families really to get together, to cozy into their house, try to get the kids in bed early, and the parents will usually spend most of the evening wrapping presents and getting ready for the big day. The children will probably more than likely not be wanting to go to bed because they may well be wanting to catch a glimpse of Santa Claus coming down the chimney pot or however he gets into the house in the middle of the night. In Hong Kong, the feeling is completely different to that. Certainly not a time to be cozying up at home. It's a time to be going out. And it's almost like there's a sort of countdown to midnight where the restaurants will be full. People will be taking photographs outside next to big Christmas trees, if possible, and generally just sort of getting out and about and enjoying themselves. But the emphasis is being outside and enjoying yourself rather than being inside and sort of cozying down, ready for a big day tomorrow. So the big day has arrived, the 25th of December, Christmas Day. It's the day that everybody's been waiting for. It's the day in which the children are going to receive all of their presents. What is the difference between the UK and Hong Kong on Christmas Day? Well, there is a huge difference. So in the UK, it is a time for overindulgence. The turkeys will be going into the ovens pretty early in the morning and we don't make any apologies at all. We will be literally eating as much food as we can possibly fit into our stomachs. So we'll be having turkey, roast potatoes, pigs in blankets, maybe even some Yorkshire puddings will appear, a huge array of roast potatoes, of roast vegetables, and the food consumption usually probably starts at lunchtime, and we will eat until we completely burst. The children will normally receive their presents under the tree very early in the morning. I think it's very difficult for children to sleep in on Christmas Day. So as soon as they wake up, which could be very early, it could be 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, they will probably be going into their parents' room and waking them up because they want to get into their presents. Or they may not even bother with that. They may go straight downstairs into their living rooms and see what Santa has left them. The tradition normally is to leave a glass of milk and some carrots out in the living room next to the Christmas tree to give to Santa Claus. Santa Claus can have the glass of milk. Some households might be good enough to leave Santa Claus a glass of beer or lager or a glass of wine or something like that, and some carrots for the reindeers as well. So the children will normally go down in the morning and they will find evidence that Santa Claus has in fact been into the house. So they may well find the fact that the glass of milk or beer or wine has been half drunk. Usually, maybe not even half drunk. I would suspect it's probably been completely finished off. Maybe even a mince pie or two, some crumbs from a mince pie might be found possibly on a table. And carrots. Carrots tend not to be consumed too much, but you may in fact see maybe some bite marks out of carrots as well. And this is all evidence, in fact, that Santa Claus has been in the night and left the presents. So when the children go down in the morning and they find all this evidence, it really sort of adds to the moment and to the occasion. And pretty soon they will forget about all of that and just get straight into their presents. In Hong Kong, it is completely different. Christmas, in terms of what we eat on Christmas Day in Hong Kong, is maybe very similar to any other day. There wouldn't be any special dish as such like turkey, which everybody would eat. In fact, people generally in Hong Kong don't really like turkey. They feel it is a dry meat which has very little in the way of flavor. But turkey for us Westerners over Christmas is very much part of the tradition. Whether we like it or not, we're going to eat it. And it's something that we've been brought up with since we were children ourselves. So we know that Christmas would not be complete without a turkey dinner. I remember when I was in Hong Kong, it was incredibly difficult, in fact, to find turkeys, especially fresh turkeys. That was virtually absolutely. In fact, I don't think I ever found a fresh turkey for Christmas Day. People will tend to go out, maybe, possibly they might go for a Western style meal, but there's nothing stopping them from having sushi, hot pot, or just any other meal on Christmas Day. The shops in England on Christmas Day are all closed. The streets are completely bare and barren. You won't see anybody driving the car on Christmas Day. Maybe later on in the afternoon, possibly you might see a few people wandering around, walking off or trying to walk off all that excess food consumption that they've had over lunchtime. And then in the evening on Christmas Day, people maybe will start eating the leftover food. So our fridges in the UK on Christmas Day are absolutely bursting. After everything's been cooked, all the leftovers will be jammed into the fridge and consumed over the course of the next weeks. How about gift giving, Christmas cards, and the great British pause? So during Christmas time, everybody will give everybody else gifts. So in the workplace, people may give each other a little gift. Certainly at home between families, obviously the central direction for all sorts of gifts would be the children, but still everybody else would give each other's gifts as well. And it is a moment at which here in the UK everybody hits the pause button. It's the one time of the year when everybody will rest together at the same time. Quite different to summer, where people are going off on summer holidays at different times during June, July, August, possibly September. But during Christmas time, there's a 2 week period really where everybody slows down. So difficult to get anything done. In Hong Kong, gift giving tends to be rather minimal in comparison to the UK. Physical Christmas cards also tend to be given a lot in the UK, not so much in Hong Kong. Sometimes people may even include a letter to their friends, which they maybe haven't seen for a while, which updates their friends on what they've been doing over the course of the last year, what their family's doing. And it's a very sort of personal touch, which brings people together at this time of year. Now, I mentioned previously about the fact that we tend not to really get involved too much in the shopping malls. That's not really our focus for enjoying Christmas time in the UK. Although obviously we need to spend a lot of time in the shopping malls to buy presents for the children and other people, but it's not really where we celebrate Christmas as such. It's not really where the community gathers together, with one exception. When Christmas Day has finished and we move into Boxing Day on the 26th of December, that's where people will go to the shops. And when I was younger, we used to look forward to the Boxing Day sales, whereby we could go and get some great deals in the shopping malls and in the shops in general. But that maybe is not such a strong tradition as it used to be in the past, possibly because we've just had Black Friday. There's all sorts of other sales promotions which are going on throughout the year. So by the time we get around to Boxing Day, people have spent a huge amount of money already, and maybe compared to years gone by, they're not so keen to go into the Boxing Day sales and spend a lot of money like they used to. But nevertheless, it is a time on Boxing Day when people do like to go out into the shopping malls and have a good look around, which is quite different to the run up to Christmas itself. So there you have it. Those are some of my thoughts regarding the differences between Hong Kong at Christmas and the UK at Christmas. For me, a UK Christmas is more like a season. So it possibly starts at the end of November, even earlier than that, and it runs all the way up into the new year. And it is a great time for people getting together, spending time with their families and loved ones, overindulgence, and really slowing down and just enjoying the festivities. In Hong Kong, it tends to be more like a moment in time. The actual day itself and Christmas Eve tends to be moments in which people will go out and celebrate and have fun, but the vibe is completely and utterly different. What are your thoughts regarding the differences between Christmas here in the UK and Hong Kong or other countries around the world? I would love to know what your thoughts are. I have probably left out quite a lot of differences, but I just wanted to share some of my thoughts regarding what those differences are to me. Thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next one.